Hello everyone, I am going to demonstrate a mod that I have made for Quake2 that allows you to move the crosshair from the center of the screen. I am using a Steam controller and the gyro is controlling the crosshair, and the right trackpad is controlling my orientation, and the thumbstick is controlling my forward and lateral movement. I'll just demonstrate the crosshair concept now. I have bound a button to reset to the middle, and to also, if I hold it down, it behaves normally. For those of you with experience with Steam controller, this is normal. This is not. I've been thinking about doing this for a while, and it's the first thing I thought about when I used the Steam controller. It was, why is the crosshair in the middle of the screen if we can have a third input that effectively is just for aiming? We don't need to have that locked to the center of the screen anymore if we're using another input to turn anyway. Also, I find with the Steam controller having the gyro and the trackpad do the same thing, you're sort of fighting with yourself. I don't see the point of that. Seems a bit awkward sometimes. This also seems a bit awkward sometimes, but that's because I'm not used to it, I think. One of the things you can do with this mode, and you may have found this in some games, if you're in the middle of a fight and let's say you need to shoot this way, and you're say moving away from the enemy, and especially on a keyboard you have S and A at your disposal at this point, you'll end up dragging along the wall. Could slow your speed down, and you end up going like this instead of nice and quickly away from them, or you end up strafing left into this wall, or like some sort of cockeyed angle, or you tap the keys in certain kind of motion to wiggle your way down the corridor. But with this, you can simply point that way and go that way. you don't actually have to move in the direction you're pointing. I can point forward, or you don't have to shoot in the direction you're pointing. I can shoot over there instead. Another thing that I think is quite common is if you are, say, in, for example, Counter-Strike, you may be camping a doorway like this, but you may also want to see something other than this bit here. So what I can do now is actually rotate all the way over here and still aim at the door. So I have got all the vision and I can still cover the door. Let's just blow up that body while I'm here. There we go. Whereas before, the best case scenario, you've got half a screen, well, 2/3 of a screen to work with. And the same for this kind of, if you want to shoot here, well, that's a bit rubbish. So you can actually do it like that. You know what I mean? You've got more visual options. Also grenades, you know, it makes a bit more sense rather than doing this kind of looking up nonsense where you can't see the person in front of you. You just throw it up. Makes a bit more sense. Yeah, I'm really having no problem using this system. It's feels awkward at first, but it's definitely more interesting. It also feels like you're holding a weapon because you're actually moving the controller relative to what's on the screen. Sort of like a light gun game. And there's just less going on. Your screen's not, you're not constantly moving the screen. You can just click on things like. Oh, you saw it. Where did you come from? And, you know, when you stand over a body, you know, do this awkward kind of look down nonsense. You don't need to pay that much attention. You just go, you know, take out the body. Like, not worth looking at. This actually, the tilt still happens, so I go, still pulls me up, so I need to pull it down. What's he doing? You get kind of disorientated when your gun's up. This is a bit weird looking. It gets kind of disorientating when your cursor's over here and you're just sort of platforming, but really it's no big deal. You just point to the enemy when you get them in your screen. Get used to just throwing the cursor at them. Great practice for using Windows as well with the Steam controller. The great thing about the Steam controller is that you get to use a thumbstick for movement. I mean, I don't think a lot of people realize this, but you know, really consider it even, is that you've got 360 degrees of movement. When walking, you don't have to deal with what WASD, it gives you 8. It's you know, you can do nice little movements down the corridor, like you're skiing or something. Whee! You know, you don't need to. And this is just like, it just feels smoother. You know, you just fly right through people, not even thinking about it. Gung ho. I'll just shoot these guys without even looking at them. I missed. Oh, what happened there? My monitor has just gone to sleep for some reason. just gonna get all the weapons because you know it's more fun. But maybe give some more bullets. Yeah, because what I really like about this is you can be like Arnold Schwarzenegger in Terminator 2. Yeah. I don't think he rotated his shoulders when he did this from the window. It's a lot more refreshing to not have the screen zigzagging around all over the place. Oops. Oh yeah. Gas. Don't actually need that, I just picked up all the weapons. Bunker. I find myself aiming at their head more when playing, while playing this one. Usually I would just let's do some target practice. Yeah, see, it's perfectly fine. And I don't really know where this guy comes from, but he just shows up here. It's a bit weird. Yep. Boom. Oh, missed ya. Oh, boom. It's just so silky. The occasional shot, but you know, that's because I suck. That's what the excuse we use now when the control scheme is shit. I suck. The control scheme is awesome, I promise. You could be much better than me. Blood all over the button. Rock and roll. Doors, it's so boring. Just be open, begin with. I think we're gonna rocket jump our way out of this one, I think. This is a situation where you don't really want it because it's much easier to do rocket jumps. You know what's gonna happen, like, you know. Oops. So we can just get out of this one. And then we just go, and we're good. Who wants to actually, oh dear, nearly dead. Whoops.